have just taken the question which were given last week. The question is, how do we address the animosity we justify and engender to some part of the world? Because we find every reason to justify our hatred for whatever the world does to us, willingly or unwillingly. So how do we counter that animosity? So we gave ourselves a question last week. So Reddy Garu just gave his inputs. So just for you, we are in fact at the fag end of the 10th chapter. And very soon, time permitting, we'll step into 11th chapter if possible today. No, right? So just to sum up what you said, Reddy Garu, what your first point you said is that it is you put your you put yourself into.
Put yourself into other shoes is more of an empathy factor to get carried away with the emotional challenges which come across. Rationally evaluate, put yourself in other person's shoes. Be more empathetic. Yes.
Second point?
Second point is more towards the witness to the what's been happening to that. Right. Let's say what is happening in Israel and Hamas, or Israel and Palestine. So being sitting here, we know what's been happening there, but nothing much we can do. Rather than emotionally get swept away with those news and information, either to be not to get connected or just to withdraw from those sort of actions. So because usually it is a peace of mind and peacefulness to you, focus more on to the rest of your actions.
See, it is when you say be a witness to something that's happening so far away, which may not and does not directly concern our life's activities. That really is not really a true test to the witness. The real witness is to the happenings which are happening in our lives, which you are being drawn into, or you are being instigated into a dispute, or there is a difference of perspective. That's where perhaps you may say, well, each have their own points of view, and you maintain a detached attitude and say, well, that's your perspective. You know, it's not possible for everybody to toe to your line. You know. All right. Okay. Anybody online? How do you address this animosity? The problem is we constantly justify the animosity. We find a reason to uphold and justify our hatred to the world for what the world does to us. So each of us have a certain area where you can actually practice this quality, where you can develop an identification with the world. I'm not talking of the world beyond the point where you got to practice. It could be anybody out there where you may not identify with. And that's where you need to practice this. That's why we gave in the question itself, we gave what is the LCM. LCM is the lowest common multiple that you can identify with, so that you can counter the animosity. Yes, sir.
Maybe sometimes these your self comes on the forefront, could be the strong reason of these animosities to going to be growing up, because you talk yourself. Most of the cases, so
being very, very selfish, very egoistic.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Namaste. I wasn't here last week, but I got the gist of the question. I think you hit the nail on the head. Eventually, the true test is when.
Could you be a little louder, sir?
Yeah. Eventually, the true test is when something directly affects us, and how do we react to it? Because there are so many things happening in the world, And like in the famous Yaksha Prasna of Mahabharata, as long as things are happening somewhere else, we still believe it won't happen to us. So it's eventually when it happens to us that it hits us, be it death, be it anything else. And that's when the anger, the frustration, especially when you put in a lot of effort and think you haven't succeeded, or you think you deserve it. All these are. And in the ultimate sense, I think the only answer to this from our tradition, which is the true answer in my opinion, is as long as there is the other, this will happen. When there is no other, then nothing bothers you. But to reach the state is evidently not easy. Intellectually, we understand it, but not. So the only answer is to work towards that. But in the meantime, all types of healing, including modern psychotherapy, accept this duality and try to reconcile you to circumstances in past and help you live as normal a life as possible. That the idea being that we're full on somehow. But from a philosophical, spiritual standpoint, that is not enough. There's still there is the other, something or other will always bother you. Well, I guess the eventually you can get your animosity only when there is no other.
No, in equation, the otherness exists because see, the ultimate otherness is we have separated ourselves from the self. So there is you and the self. In fact, there is you and the world. If I look now, it's me and everybody against me, just me and the world. So to which extent I can create a oneness with the world. I can create an identification with the world. There is an identity. But the point is, are you aware of the identity that you are creating? Are you conscious of how you can expand on that identity? And what is the price you pay where there is no identity? Isn't it? But otherness exists until one gets to the self, until one realizes the self, until you attain that state of self-realization, there will be that oneness.
Yeah.
You know?
And then it's patchwork.
Not really. It shouldn't be that way. See, the life of a sadhak is like a sportsman looks at a life of sport as a challenge. He doesn't enter the arena to say, somehow let me win the game. He doesn't look at a sport. He doesn't look at an opposition as a difficulty. A sportsman looks at a challenge as an opportunity to exhibit his talent. He may lose, but he will lose gracefully. It's not somehow to pull on with the game. Interestingly, this morning and yesterday late evening, there was some video which was circulating in the media and which reached me for more than one quarter. Reddy Garu, in fact, was one who sent yesterday of the Paralympics that's been happening. I don't know, where is it happening?
It's in China.
In China, is it?
After the Olympics, follows the Paralympics.
Paralympics, okay. So it's happening there, and it's a para, so it's all impaired people. One of the in the archery segment, the lady, 16, 17-year-old girl, where she has no arms, and she's shooting archery with her legs, with her feet. And did she win the gold?
No.
She lost the thing. But she lost the gold, and the fact that you see her competing, it really motivates or inspires you, you know. So what am I complaining about, you know? So a sportsman doesn't look at a challenge. He doesn't accept it lying down. They take it head on, and then they fight it out. So a spiritual aspirant should find every opportunity to create a harmony with the world. Or you can get into a dispute with the world, and end of the day, if I get into an argument or dispute with the world, the ultimate price one is paying is I am paying the ultimate price because I have lost my peace of mind. If I get into a conflict with the world, I suffer. And I take the word from what you said regarding the earlier, you said that if you are able to forgive the world for what the world has done to you, and if I don't harbor any hatred or animosity, if I'm able to forgive the world, instantly I'm liberating myself from the consequences of remembrance of that emotion. Whatever the world does to you. But if I don't forgive the world, I'm continue to suffer. So if I'm able to raise up to the level, and it's my spiritual maturity that creates a disparity, and I see the shortcomings in others, and chalo yaar. That kind of an attitude. But I will explain. Let me hear. Sediji.
Hari Om Guruji.
Yes, sir.
We can forgive by feeling that they are unconsciously or unknowingly helplessly expressing their vasanas. Whoever is creating animosity. And I feel yesterday's class, you did address this point. That is, I feel this primary reason for this is there is a lot of selfishness among certain population in the world. The arms manufacturer, they say all the wars are created by arms manufacturers for their selfish end, and those countries behind those arms manufacturing. So this is there is a lot of imbalance in standard of living all over the world, and there are a lot of poor, and it is the duty of the rich nations to ensure that they come out of the poverty. Then these things will reduce a lot. Animosity is the fundamental reason is. So we need compassion.
Okay.
Because everyone's perspective is different for various reasons. They are only rightly said by Srinivas Reddy Garu that unless we are in their shoes, we don't know what exactly is happening. And the solution is not this now whatever is happening, the war is not the solution. It creates more animosity for those who are affected. And most of the population is again silent spectators.
See, the question was asked in areas where it concerns your life.
Yeah.
See, there are many factors which are not in your control, in my control. But in the life that I lead day in and day out,
I was telling about international, because today we are all global connected. Any war, anywhere, this thing, we are affected because fuel price will increase, everything. This is all now, it has become a global village. Everyone is connected. So that is why the media also goes on highlighting. It has got repercussions.
no, see, indirectly we are affected, directly we are affected.
Yeah.
Now, can we forget there is no war? There are many factors which we have no control over. Demonetization, government has decided. There was no war. Did you have a control over it? It would have directly impacted or may not impacted you. No, it's not the question of areas where you can't do. But the question is, the real sadhana comes in. As Reddy Garu said, when you go out into the world, there will be areas where you may feel a certain animosity. you will justify to continue to harbor that animosity. So the question is, with reference to our own sadhana, how do I liberate myself from the animosity I may feel it right to continue to feel?
As we,
Factors where we have no say, we have to surrender. But where others' actions are directly influencing your life,
as we evolve all this, we will get that forgiving nature, because we will be, we think of, as our intellect improves and wisdom quotient increases, I think we will be in a better position. The solution is we should evolve. We should do more sadhana.
no, yeah, that's again being generic. But in fact, you have said that. I think the fundamental reason why one would hate the world is because of when the world does not satisfy me, I tend to not have a feeling of acceptance of the world I'm dealing with.
World is a reflection of mind. You have mentioned.
No, to the point where you said of selfishness. In fact, the fundamental reason what creates otherness with the world is selfishness. The less selfish you are, the less egoistic you are, there is greater harmony and oneness with the world. And I would like to put you all through how you approach this concept. I've put it on board for you all so you can see how you can use this concept to understand where you are. So the point is to have clarity as to where I am, so that I can do the needful to transform myself, isn't it? Now, do you all see online, Sanjay? Right. Now, as we said, LCM is defined as the lowest common multiple. Now, I've classified the human beings into different categories based on the, as you note, on the degree of their selfishness. So, all human beings except a man of self-realization will have a certain quotient of selfishness. Now, human beings are classified into 5 categories. First is a mineral being, a vegetable, an animal, a human, and a God person. Now, a mineral person is one who is the grossest amongst all beings. He only thinks of himself. All that he does in his life is must interest him, must satisfy him, must cater to him, must benefit him. If it doesn't cater or satisfy or interest him, he would not do it. So he would not take a step, he would not put in any effort, he would not go to a point where he is accommodating others. There's no question of accommodating others. It's me, myself, my life. Such a person is a mineral person. Little evolved than a mineral person is a vegetable person, where he has gone beyond himself, where he is identifying with his spouse, children, or his family. So he'll go to great lengths to sacrifice for the family interest. His identification, now I'm talking of LCM. So the LCM for a mineral person is oneself, which is only I and my. That's it. If it satisfies I and my, he'll do it. That's the grossest LCM. The LCM for a vegetable man is his spouse, children, and family. So within that spouse, children, and family, there is that complete identification. That means within this children and family, there is no what is the term you use, sir? Ravi Shankarji, no otherness. So with reference to the family, there is no that family is one unit. No otherness at all. And then comes a point when you become an animal person, where your LCM, your identification has gone not just for the family, it's come to a caste or creed or clan or clique or community or religion. Means you identify to everybody who belongs to that particular umbrella or that circle of identification. Now you can bring it to a little low, but as you see, there is a huge leap for a vegetable person to become an animal person. A huge leap. Even in this, there are grades. Now, in the different categories, these people are very sacrificial to their faction, who falls within their religion or within their sect or within their creed. If you identify with the Malayali community, if you identify with the Konkani community, if you identify with the Telugu community, or if you kind of identify with the Vaishnavite community or a Shaivite community, like especially when you go abroad, you find there are so many communities. Where is the Indian community? Indian community doesn't exist. There are so many pockets of other communities. So they do great deal just to help their community. Or they could take care only their family. They try to bring and help their own family members, not the community. So they are sacrificial to their faction. But beyond the boundary of their caste or creed or clan or clique or religion, you may be a great angel within your religion. But beyond the religion, you become a devil. So I can do great to support my religion. If I am supporting Islam or Hinduism or Buddhism, I am a great supporter. But the moment it crosses the boundary to other religion, I become a devil. Why? Otherness creeps in. What identification I claim to Hinduism, I have no identification to other isms. And I find it right for me to hate other religion in the name of spirituality. The sad part of the plight of spiritual world today is I hate others in the name of religion. Why? Because my identification is only with reference to that particular level. Are you all with me? Sanjay?
Yeah, yes, Guruji, I'm following, but this is a sensitive topic for me, so I'm learning as I'm going.
Why sensitive topic? I'm not triggering any sentiments here.
No, it's sensitive. I have hatred towards certain things, so I'm trying to absorb this so it can help me.
Right. No, it's nothing personal, but certainly.
No.
So the concept is to highlight the degree of selfishness or the degree of identification. So starting from mineral, vegetable, animal, and if you extend the idea, as he says here, members of each group cause more pain to other groups. This is important. You cause more pain to other groups than the pleasure you can claim to your own. Interesting. The choice of words interesting. Yes, Pridima? Well, just hold on. Yeah.
For example, when I identify myself with a certain community, it gives me a sense of belonging, a sense of comfort.
Yeah.
A sense of security. I can turn to members of the community more comfortably in times of need and at the same time in times of rejoicing. But that doesn't mean that I do not accept people who belong to other communities. While being an integral member of a certain community, I can at the same time connect with people of other communities without giving up what gives me a sense of being rooted.
Yes. No, that's all right. Just because you have a comfort zone with a particular, at whatever level you are, to whichever group you are, that doesn't necessarily mean you should hate the other. The contrary doesn't mean that you are hating the other. That's all right. As long as there is no animosity towards them. That's the acid test. But it's for you to find out where you are on this ladder. Because from the mineral is the grossest and the God person is the highest. Somewhere that identification snaps.
Just as I feel that I have the validity to be, I must recognize that other people have equal reasons to be the way they are.
Absolutely. You respect their perspective, their views, their practices, whatever. Just because, in fact, if their belief systems or their views may be challenging you because you may not agree to them, even then I have no reason to hate them. I know it can become very sensitive, especially when we talk of conversion of religion. If somebody is going about converting a particular sect to another, and if you belong to a sect which is being converted or are being marginalized, how would I look upon those who are using opportunities to convert? Now, is what you can do is another thing. What feeling does it arouse in you? It's like, exactly like we give an innocuous example. At times, our teeth bite the tongue. The tongue is bitten by the tongue, right? And sometimes it bleeds terribly. Do you go to a dentist and say, remove this particular teeth because this is biting my tongue? There's a pain in my neck. There's a pain, literal pain, a torture. Remove this fellow. I don't want it. No, you can't. It's a part of me. It happens. The teeth is mine, the tongue is mine. I am one. So how can I hate? I cannot. I have to accept and live with it. That kind of acceptance of imperfection around us comes when there is an understanding. When there is an identification, you may take a course of action, but that course of action is not stemming out of hatred. It's not coming out of bitterness. That's an acid test. That's the important point, which we all need to evaluate ourselves. So, coming from the earlier was the animal person who is caught up at a clan, clique, or religion, a leap from an animal being to a A human person or a human being, a true human being, is where he is able to identify with a nation. It's no more about religion. I'm identifying with 1.3 billion people, my whole country. Or I identify with the entire region. Asia-Pac region. It's just not my country. A conglomerate of few countries, I identify with all of them. I say I belong to Asia-Pac. Or you go beyond all this and you are able to identify with entire humanity. It's not a question of religion, it's not a question of region, it's not a question of whether you are a sinner or a saint. The fact that I see you as a human being, I identify with you. It's very interesting at times, when you meet a person of your own country in an alien land, instantly identify with that person, don't you? You don't ask him which religion are you? Are you from South India, from North India? Are you how? So what we were saying? So when you meet someone in a foreign land, instantly you are able to identify with them because you identify with your nation. But you may not identify like that with other people because there is no identification. They are still stuck to your country, my people. Huh? Is the one here? So a human person identifies with the entire humanity, but he is not able to identify with other living beings. Just to satisfy their palate, they go on harming innocent lives just for their taste buds. No identification. But a God person is one who identifies with all living beings. Now, therefore, the question you got to ask yourself is, there's no chaos theory in there. Here, chaos theory in another. Very clear theory. Can't hear you, sir. You have to unmute yourself first. Yes.
Even a butterfly flying somewhere has got its effect elsewhere. It's called chaos theory. Whether you like it or our actions, inactions, they have an effect. Many times by not inaction, by our inactions, we are actually supporting a cause which we should not be supporting. Because we are mute spectators, we don't participate. Either way, you create the mess by your actions or inactions. Whether we like it or not, our presence in the world is creating the rest of the world. It works the other way around also. That is what is chaos theory.
Got it. But if we are all conscious of our actions to a large extent, what we are trying to do here is, with the knowledge and wisdom, if your level of awareness increases,
affirmative action.
Yes, conscious
affirmative action. Conscious affirmative actions can bring about a change.
Will bring about a change.
Yes.
So in the 13th chapter, if I'm not wrong, where he talks of the qualities of a devotee in the 12th chapter and the 13th chapter, qualities of a knowledgeable person, a wise person. He says there, one quality says, he who does not agitate the world. So when you perform actions, are your actions agitating the world, annoying the world? No, you may do best of things. If the world still gets annoyed, that's not your problem. That is not your business. That's their problem. That they have got a nagging issue. Anything you do, they get agitated. So that's their problem. But to a large extent, you're not doing consciously to hurt others. That's one thing. Second thing he says is you're not agitated by the world. So you don't agitate the world, you're not agitated by the world. So when, to a large extent, if you perform constructive actions to the larger well-being of others, I think you are safe. Then you don't fall into this theory. So the concept we spoke about is the more selfish you are, you will find you will not be able to find harmony with the world. The less selfish you are, you will be wanted, you will be accepted by the world. This is the principle. And the animosity arises because the world doesn't fit into your frame. And what is the frame here? Vasantama, what is the frame?
Your limited faction, whatever your boundaries, whatever boundaries you have drawn, that becomes your limitation.
The frame is your egoistic personality. When the world doesn't cater to your ego, there is a friction with the world and you create an animosity to the world because the world doesn't dance to your tunes. What I want, the world doesn't satisfy. Then what? I hate you. And somebody does what you like, I love you. So that I love you comes because the world is catering to you, not that you love the world. The same world which doesn't cater to you. Anna, Shivaji, taking out your gun, huh? Hey. That's what's happening. You don't do what I want, I'll find ways how I can hurt you. Very sad attitude. So the selfishness of us comes in. In fact, how selfish you are is tested when the world doesn't cater to you. Or how unselfish you are, and how you behave when the world doesn't cater to you. Isn't it, Gayatri Ma? When the world caters to you, you may like the world. That's no big deal. So as SR said, you must try to put yourself in other person's shoes and to be able to totally think from their perspective, other person's perspective. Yes, sir. On pano, sir, on pano. Press and hold it for a few seconds until it becomes green. Just press and hold it.
Just one question, sir. So what you said is perfectly clear, but is it okay? Is it okay to try and make the world cater to you? You love the world when it suits you. When it goes against you, you start hating it. That much is clear. But is it okay to try and interfere with the world to make it do things which suit you or your way.
Example?
I
I'm
mean,
asking example to understand your question. Because it's a very generic and very vague.
no, in the sense, anything you're unhappy with, to try and change that.
If you can.
Yes.
If there's like you have a maid in the house who cooks meals for you, a chef, a cook in the house who attends to the needs of the family, and if she's doing things the way she wants, and if it's not catering to your palate, you obviously tweak the maid or change the maid if the maid doesn't cater to your palate. You don't have to put yourself through inconvenience because you can't say, oh, that is the nature of the world. Try and change the world to whatever extent you can. But when you can't change the world, you must learn to accept and endure. There's a point where you know what you can change. You must know what you cannot change. And you must have the wisdom to understand the both.
You know, that famous saying by Saint Francis of Assisi.
Just to take the online also along with us, you need to use the mic.
Sorry. I think it's important to focus on how one goes about changing somebody's perspective or way of doing things. It has to be through example, it has to be through gentle persuasion. And then you should also know when to let go if it's not working. Or you opt out of the situation if you find that, I mean, simple example, you gave somebody's cooking for you and you said, yes, change the person. So the method one uses to make another person see your point of view, I think that's significant.
See, it is fundamentally, you must understand the world is not designed to cater to you. The world has a nature or a pattern of its own. I may appoint a caretaker. I may say, I'm giving you the salary, you have to do what I want, but still he has a personality of his own. I have to accept that he has a personality. How much ever I may accept or not accept of his, but there's a point where I say, no, this is not according to my standard. And you say, okay, see if you can mold him. If you can't mold him, I say, move on. But I don't need to hate you because you are not able to do your part as to my expectation. So to give the world an existence of its own, to understand it has its nature, and that has got nothing to do with my selfishness or my personality. But when I look only from my selfish perspective, which a mineral person does, then everything revolves around me and my needs, that's all. And wherever I go, whatever I do must satisfy me. But when that ego gets liquidated, when the selfishness gets little dissolved, then you start accommodating others into your life and you start giving reasons why you should accommodate others. I wrote a beautiful quote which got, thanks to Gayatri Ma, which got erased. No, I'll hate you more. Please be out of my sight. So the quote is, never mind. Happy and blessed are when wickedness stands forth revealed Maurice Maeterlinck. He is a Belgian poet. He says, your life, let me decode this. Your life will be happy and blessed. Our means your life, this moment, your time will be happy and blessed. When you see wickedness revealed, when I see a wicked person, means when wickedness comes to the forefront and I see wickedness in a person, what should I see? I should see it as goodness. Goodness means potential goodness is just that bereft of a guide. That fellow did not have the opportunity as I had. He is not as exposed as I am. Therefore, he is not behaving as maturely perhaps as I am behaving. So if I am able to put myself in that person's shoes and see, why is he so crude? Why is he so gross? Why is he so selfish? Because he doesn't have the same exposure. He doesn't have the same opportunities which I was exposed to. So how can I expect him to be other than what he is? Look at the polished thought. So I give the benefit of the doubt and say, if you had the same exposure as I had, perhaps you'll be better than me. You and he are not same because you did not get same opportunities. So why can't you forgive him for lack of opportunities or lack of exposure? But he is potentially good. In fact, what should you ultimately see in any being? Ashama, what should you ultimately see in any person? What is ultimate? Here we are talking of seeing goodness in a person. What is the ultimate thing you must see?
That he is also a branch of God. He is also a part of God, just as I am.
Ultimately, to be able to see that the divinity in him. The whole concept emerged from this phrase in the 41st verse when we did the last class. I'll get to that very soon. When we did the last class in the 41st verse, that's when we said this. The ultimate thing is, if I'm able to see divinity in the other person, can I see?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, we all can.
Correct. Please give us a quote. A couplet.
Time lagega. I'll put it there.
When you are ready, let us know.
Yeah. Yes.
Anji. Sanjay, all okay? All settled? UK, all okay? Okay, let's move on. We will get to the last verse of the 10th chapter, 42. Athava bahunaite na kim jnatena tavarjuna vishtabhyahamidip kritsnam ekanshena sthito jagat. Athava bahunaitina kim jnatena tavarjuna vishtabhyahamidip kritsnam ekanshena sthito jagat. మీకు అక్కడ టీవీలో కనిపిస్తుందా? So, but of what avail to thee is the knowledge of all these details, Arjuna? What use? Having pervaded this entire universe, by one fragment I remain. After giving all the details of the manifestations, he is analyzed, he is given analytically all where he pervades from verses 19 to 38. He says, of what use all this to you? Having pervaded this entire universe, by one fragment I remain. The entire universe is just a fragment of my being. I am beyond all this. So don't be caught up in the terrestrial expressions. All the while he has been saying, I am this, I am that in the terrestrial, right? He's saying all the terrestrial is just a fragment. I am the transcendental, way beyond the terrestrial. So it's of what use? What use is all the descriptions I've given to you, Arjuna? It's of no use to you. I am the transcendental, having pervaded this, the entire universe, by one fragment. I am the transcendental being. So the message is, don't get caught up in the manifestations of the world. We are only seeing pocket manifestations of the glory of the self. To be able to see an entire world as nothing but Brahman, not easy. This is where we said this. So the entire universe is one fragment. The standard definition the Shastras give to tell that the Brahman pervades the world, the standard definition they give is Sat, Chit, Ananda. So Brahman is Sat, Chit, Ananda, and also beyond it. This is a technical definition for the world. Now, anybody knows what Sat, Chit, Ananda means? Huh? என்ன சார் எங்க இருக்காது ஆமா கரெக்ட் she is saying somewhere is there எங்க கரெக்டா சொன்னீங்க அதுக்காக சொல்றேன் சச்சிதானந்தனா existence knowledge and bliss. Chit is knowledge, existence, knowledge, bliss. So what is existence referring to? What is Chit, knowledge, referring to? What is Ananda referring to? Because they say Brahman is Sat, Chit, Ananda and beyond it, which means Brahman is in the world and beyond the world. So if we have to say, this is the definition of Brahman. They say it is Sat, Satchidanandam or Ananda, okay? And it is beyond it, beyond Satchitananda. This is the definition of Brahman. So what is Sat? Sat is existence, Chit, is knowledge, Ananda is bliss. Now the question is, what is existence? Gayatri Ma, what is existence?
Everything that is pervading or manifested.
What is that is?
Everything that is pervading.
No, Brahman is pervading existence, Brahman is pervading knowledge, Brahman is pervading the bliss and also beyond it.
Existence or this world.
What is existing in the world? What is existing is inert objects, which is okay. Chit, sorry, not Chitilya. Sat refers to inert objects, which is matter, which is lifeless. Chit refers to living beings which have knowledge of waking and dream. And Ananda refers to living beings going through deep sleep. So matter and living beings. So the equation is Brahman is there in matter, Brahman is there in living beings which go through waking, dream and deep sleep. Brahman is beyond it. This is the technical definition. Whenever you have to take to lecturing, you'll know. When he says Chit is not the enlivening force. Chit here refers to knowledge. Sat is existence. So having pervaded the entire universe, the entire universe is Satchidananda. People use it very liberally without understanding the implication. So this is the actual meaning of what Satchidananda means. Yes, Ashama, your smile tells it all. You're ready.
Now, this refers to the smile that you mentioned. माना कि जिंदगी की राहें आसान नहीं है, मगर मुस्कुरा के चलने में कोई नुकसान नहीं है.
दोबारा बोलिए.
माना कि जिंदगी की राहें आसान नहीं है, मगर मुस्कुरा के चलने में कोई नुकसान नहीं.
Absolutely. Nice one.
Now to that other quote, Brahman is telling me or any of us, तलाश न कर मुझे जमीनों आसमान की गर्दिश में, अगर मैं तेरे दिल में नहीं हूं तो कहीं नहीं हूं.
You need to explain to others.
Do not look for me in this world or the universe. If I'm not within you, I'm nowhere.
Correct.
तलाश न कर मुझे जमीनों आसमान की गर्दिश में, अगर मैं तेरे दिल में नहीं हूं तो कहीं नहीं हूं.
Nice one. So true. So, who is, they're asking who has written it?
No, I don't know.
She doesn't. Sorry? Ah, correct. She is the, for us, she is the author. She is the guru. That's all. Right. So, Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Vibhuti Yogo Nama Dashamodhyayaha. We'll chant the first verse together. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bhuya Eva Mahabaho Shrunu Me Paramam Vachaha Yatteham Priyamanaya Vakshyami Hita Kamyaya. It was a long time ago we started the 10th chapter. How long it took us, Ma? More than 4-5 months. So a remembrance that it is not the end, but just the beginning. So when we come back next week, we will take up the 11th chapter. The 11th chapter, very famous chapter, Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga, the yoga of the vision of the cosmic form. The chapter has got 55 verses. So when we come back, we will start the 11th chapter. Now, just to take a note for the next week's class, if you're all okay to just tweak the starting session instead of 11:30, if we can start the session next Sunday at 12 o'clock. Is that all okay for you all? Instead of 11:30 a.m., it will be 12 noon. So it will be from 12 to 1:15. Okay, so please take a note. And don't sit in the comfort of your home. Please come here. Driver, please pick up everybody. Official driver of the foundation. Right. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.